Hey everybody, what is going on? I am pretty excited to tell you about this new PC that just came in from Build Redux. I've been waiting for a long time now. If you watched my previous video, you know that I have been using my old iMac for quite some time, since I think about 2012. So it's been over 8 years of using the same machine to do all my computing stuff, which has been fine for the most part, up until I recently got the GoPro Hero 9 camera and started doing more recording in 4K resolution. And that's when the iMac started to really choke on the size of the files and the amount of video data that it had to process. And so that was when I knew that it was time to look for a new computer. And I decided to go with a PC this time in order to be able to do not just the video editing that I need to do with 4K video files, but also dive back into the world of PC gaming, which I'm pretty excited about. I placed my order back in November of last year. That was a few days before Thanksgiving, in fact. Build Redux, surprisingly, was going to be one of the better deals for a custom-built PC, even though they didn't have any Black Friday sales. They had just launched. It's a new company, and they were just getting started in October, November, and so they weren't offering any discounts or special deals for Black Friday. They were just offering their standard deal, which is $75 to build a custom PC to your specs. Well, they have a website that you can go to, buildredux.com, and they have a limited number of choices that you can make in terms of what you want to put into your PC, but they had some pretty good choices, and I put together a system with the help of some friends who I consulted with in terms of recommending what kind of parts I should put into it. But for $75 plus the manufacturer suggested retail price of those parts, seems like a pretty reasonable deal for what amounts to a trouble-free experience. I know some of you are probably going to say, hey, you could have built your own PC and save some money that way, but I just kind of wanted to go through a custom built experience where they put it together, they troubleshoot it, they make sure everything is working right, install all the software, and just it comes to me ready to go. So that's kind of what I wanted. The downside was that there's a shortage of these parts, and so there were delays. It was going to be a long wait period in order to get these parts into stock, and so I had to wait because it's now January, and after about 7 weeks of waiting, my PC finally arrived this weekend, and I was excited to finally see my PC show up on my doorstep after 7 weeks of waiting. And I have to say, I think it was worth it. I'm really happy with how things turned out, and without further ado, let's take a look at the new PC.
So, going over the specs of the system, I chose to begin with the system that Redux characterizes as the best or highest tier for performance. It starts with an Intel Core i7-10700K 8-core processor, and Redux provides an all-in-one liquid cooler setup from Cooler Master. This goes into an ASUS PRIME Z490-P motherboard, and it all sits inside a Cooler Master TD500 tower case. For the GPU, I chose the RTX 3070 graphics card from NVIDIA. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Redux includes 16 gigabytes of DDR4 memory for this spec, but I chose to upgrade to 32 gigabytes of RAM. I figure that'll come in handy for running video editing applications like DaVinci Resolve or, keeping things running smoothly when I'm dropping into Call of Duty Warzone. Well, let's get this thing hooked up and on.
All right, moment of truth.
Ugh, that rainbow lighting. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the crazy amounts of RGB lighting that modern PCs are rocking. I guess that is part of the gamer boys or girls culture now. A little lighting is fine, but all this multicolored flashing madness is a bit too much for me. I think I'll go with a simpler color scheme once I figure out how to set that myself. For now, I guess, enjoy the disco light show. Okay, in terms of other hardware, I picked up a Logitech G513 keyboard and a G502 Hero mouse. As you can see, these also have RGB lighting, and since these generally require apps to control the lighting and other customization, I thought I'd just buy the same brand for both and not have to install yet another extra app. Logitech has been around since forever, and I remember buying a Logitech mouse for my very first PC many years ago. I tend to stick with brands that I've known and trust for a long time. Oh, one single color, this looks much better. I have a Sound Blaster X G5 external DAC that I got from a friend, and I can use that to plug in my Turtle Beach headphones that I've brought over from my Xbox. And I have my Xbox controller that I can plug into the USB port for playing games. The monitor is a LG 27-inch widescreen that can do 144 Hz at 1440p resolution. In case you were wondering, you can change the colors of the RGB lighting on the computer's case using this remote. You can toggle between colors, a bunch of different flashing modes, and even adjust the brightness of the lights. You can even turn them off. Wow, there are a lot of different color modes. I might have found one that looks decent and isn't just static. There's something for everyone in here, I guess. At the time I placed the order, the more powerful RTX 3080 card was not available, and the 3070 was the fastest card from NVIDIA that they were offering. Keep in mind that my primary objective was to build a fast machine for video editing, and gaming was actually my secondary objective. So being able to play Cyberpunk 2077 at 4K was not necessarily what I was aiming for here. And I think that the 3070 will work just fine for my purposes. The Redux system comes with a 500 gigabyte solid state hard drive, plus a 2 terabyte normal hard drive. I chose to upgrade the SSD to 1 terabyte. That will give me enough space to fit all of my applications and the Windows OS on the primary drive, and even squeeze a few large games on there as well for extra fast loading. I plan to store the video working files and additional games and media over on the conventional 2 terabyte drive. In terms of the software, the computer comes from Redux with a basic Windows 10 home install, and there is virtually nothing else on there except the NVIDIA GeForce drivers software. No bloatware, no annoying adware, etc. The first thing I installed was the Google Chrome browser. And then from there, the list started to grow as I thought of and discovered a bunch of new apps that I needed or wanted. Various utilities, benchmarks, software to control or monitor the various things on the system, like controlling the RGB lights and monitoring the GPU and CPU core temperatures. If you guys are interested in what I chose for various tools and functions, let me know in the comments below, and I can do a future video on my picks. So in closing, I have a few more comments about Redux and the overall customer experience. As I mentioned, I had to wait about 7 weeks for my computer after placing my order. I placed my order a few days before Thanksgiving, on November 24th. Originally, I was told that it would take about 2 weeks to get my order shipped. I emailed them twice to check on my status, and the first time it took several days for someone to respond to me. They told me that my order was being delayed and that it was not going to ship until the end of December. That was disappointing, but okay, at least they told me that it was going to be delayed. But December came and went, and in early January, I emailed them again. This time, they never responded. A week later, however, they shipped out my PC, and I received it in mid-January. I didn't even get my shipping confirmation until after the package actually arrived on my doorstep. So, I think the folks at Redux could do a better job of communicating and keeping their customers in the loop. I think they are just swamped and working to get the PCs built and shipped as fast as they can, but they are falling behind on the communications end. However, the PC was exactly as promised and works very well. I was not thrilled with the wait and the poor communications, but in the end, they delivered and I am very happy with the PC. My advice to Redux: be upfront with your customers about the timing of orders, answer questions promptly, and keep your customers informed. Letting your customers know an order is delayed is far less anxiety-inducing than leaving them in the dark, wondering if their $1,000 or $2,000 has been stolen and they've been scammed. I'm happy to say this is not a scam. It's just an unfortunate situation of delayed production and delivery and lack of communication, but they do eventually deliver a great product. I know it's rough starting out a new venture in a pandemic and dealing with shortages and setbacks. But in the end, it is not the stumbles, but how you respond and react to those challenges that people judge you by. I wish Redux good luck in building a stronger process through all of this, and I hope the rest of you who ordered and are still waiting will get your orders soon too.
So there you have it. This is my new PC. I've still got a little bit of setup that I need to do in terms of installing a bunch of software, video editing, photo editing, some of the creative stuff that I need in order to create content. But I've got the computer here. I'm happy that it's finally arrived, and I'm really looking forward to checking out all the new games and exciting technology that's out there for the PC world that I've been away from for so long. Probably going to dive back into some of my old favorites like StarCraft 2, play some Assetto Corsa, and as well as some of the new games that I've been getting into like Call of Duty. So hopefully we'll see more content coming your way soon, generated from this machine. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you stay safe. Take care. We'll see you next time. There we go.